Welcome to Strawberry Ink. Today we're driving into a tragic and shocking story from the heart of Missouri, the death of Ben Renick, a world-renowned snake breeder. His life was cut short after an act of betrayal that stunned his community and sent ripples far beyond. It was June 2017 when co-workers at Ben Renick's snake facility walked into a nightmare. Ben, just 29 years old, was found lying motionless on the floor. At first, officers on the scene wondered if one of Ben's massive snakes had turned on him, but enclosures were secure. None of the snakes had gotten out. They were all in their cages. Then investigators noticed something else: shell casings. That changed everything. Ben's body was sent to the coroner's office in Montgomery City, Missouri. His identity was confirmed using a badge he carried. The cause of death? Gunshot wounds. And just like that, a potential animal accident became a full-blown homicide. For years, the case remained unsolved. Until January 16th, 2020, just before COVID. That morning, Lynlee Renick, Ben's widow and a massage therapist who ran the Essentia Spa in Columbia, Missouri, was leaving home to go to work. But she never made it to her spa. Deputies from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office intercepted her as she was walking out of the home and arrested her. She was processed at the sheriff's headquarters, and there she was informed that she was a suspect of Ben Renick's murder. Therefore, instead of going to work that day, she went to jail, the Montgomery County Jail, where she was booked on a felony charge of armed criminal action. Just hours later, another arrest was made. Michael Humphrey, an old acquaintance of Lynlee. He was pulled over by Missouri State Troopers while driving and taken into custody on that same charge. His destinations, obviously, first the Montgomery County Sheriff's headquarters and then their jail. Their first appearance was before Circuit Judge Linda Hamlet. This judge ordered that both remain behind bars for the time being. Kevin Zollner, Assistant State Attorney General at the time, serving as prosecutor, told the court that the pair was part of a larger criminal investigation and that a grand jury indictment was on the horizon. He was working with the grand jurors in order to charge the couple of more severe crimes. Public defenders were assigned: Albert Watkins for Lynlee, TJ Hunsaker for Michael. Both agreed that these two suspects were in a relationship and that Lynlee was cheating on Ben. The grand jury at the Montgomery County Courthouse later returned indictments for first-degree murder against both defendants. Zollner unsealed the charges and made a key decision. The cases would be tried separately. He would personally prosecute Michael, while Assistant Attorney General Kelly Keene would take on Lynlee's case. At their arraignments, both Lynlee and Michael pleaded not guilty. Judge Kevin Crane granted Lynlee a $1 million bond, and she was released shortly after. Michael was not so lucky. Judge Jason Lamb denied him bond, and he remained in jail to await trial. In October 2022, Michael Humphrey went to trial in Albion County Circuit Court. He was represented by attorney Brianne Beecher, though he retained his public defender as co-counsel. After a short trial, he was found guilty on all charges. A jury of 12 members and 2 alternates. On the other hand, Lynlee Renick hired attorney Tim Hesseman to represent her and parted ways with her public defender. She was put on trial in December 2021, also with a jury of 12 members and 2 alternates. Michael Humphrey unexpectedly took a plea deal with the prosecution and pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of second-degree murder. By doing so, he agreed to testify against Lynlee at her trial. Lynlee, after this short trial, was found guilty on a lesser charge of second-degree murder and armed criminal action. This trial was held in another venue, Boone County, where she lived. Judge Lamb quickly sentenced Michael after testifying to life in prison with the possibility of parole for the second-degree murder. This means he will have to complete about 25 years and 6 months of his sentence to be eligible for the parole. With the unexpected deal he took, the first murder conviction and armed criminal action conviction was thrown out. In January 2022, Judge Crane sentenced Lynlee to 13 years in prison for murder and 3 years for armed criminal action. Those were consecutive terms, therefore she got a total of 16 years in prison. Neither defendant accepted their fate so quickly. Michael appealed, citing judicial errors, most notably that Judge Lamb had refused to acquit him or declare a mistrial before the jury ruled. But the court rejected his appeal, citing the plea deal and its consequences. This was Missouri's state appeals court. Lynlee, on the other hand, also appealed her case. She argued that her trial should have been restarted and that she should have been acquitted before a jury verdict. But shortly after, her new attorney, Carl Jansen, withdrew the appeal. This attorney, who she hired, knew that it was not worth continuing on with this appeal. Today, Michael Humphrey is serving his sentence at the Jefferson City Correctional Center. Before being transferred, he was evaluated at the Fulton Reception Center. Lynlee Renick is incarcerated at the Women's Eastern Reception. It is a diagnostic and correctional center in Vandalia, Missouri. Unless paroled early, she will remain behind bars until the late 2030s. The murder of Ben Renick reminds us that even the most unique and promising lives can be cut short in the most unexpected and tragic ways. That behind every courtroom battle, there is a deeper story of broken relationships, dark motives, and irreversible loss. This has been Strawberry Ink. I am so happy to be mentioning again that the toxic 2010s decade is over. Thank God. If you found this episode compelling, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. We'll be back next week with another story that cuts beneath the surface. And before I part, don't forget to look for your local animal charity and donate. Animals need your help, all sorts of animals. Therefore, have a good rest of your day.